So, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Brandfest Season 2. As we are entering into the second session of the day, we have two of my friends as well as two eminent personalities from the industry. Mr. Chintan Soni, Medicine Media, and Niraj Shah. Let me start introducing Niraj, whom I can always comfortably bench on anything, wherever and whenever I need. Niraj Shah is an alumnus of School of Interior Design, CEPT, Ahmedabad. He is founder of I Do Design, a multidisciplinary firm with two verticals, one interior architecture and graphic design. He was on the board of Oscars panel as art direction for selection of Indian film representation at the Academy Awards 2020. He is chairperson of Institute of Indian Interior Designers Ahmedabad, a regional chapter, and he has been there for 2 years, 2017 to 2019. Niraj is also a recipient of the State Award for Art Direction of Gujarati Film Behavioural for the year 2015-16 and has also got Gujarat Government's Information and Broadcasting Department panel for screening for subsidy. He got an award for that. His continuous need to add value by learning lead him to do a course in strategy management from IIM Kolkata and design thinking and innovation from MIT Sloan. A good friend of mine, and also he has been also contributing in the academic world by teaching as a visiting faculty at CEPT, NIFT, UID, Anand University, Ahmedabad, with more than 20 undergraduate theses completed under his guidance. He is also partner, founder to Hospital Consulting, that is purely into brand and business consulting, primarily focused on startups. Recently has been given the role of Communication Director India for the International Elite Networking Forum, corporate connection and mentor to Rising Circle, a self-potential startup. Indeed, a very impressive profile. And I would like and invite Niraj to be there on the Brandfest second season and lead the session with Chintan Soni.
Thank you so much for this introduction, for having me here. And believe me, I mean, as much as being from the branding side and having kind of loggerheads with all the digital partners that we have, because all of us are trying to learn so much. I think it's a privilege to be here, to be listening to Chintan, and obviously after this was introduced, I also kind of went in and Googled him and looked at his LinkedIn and on a few of his other talks. And I think what he has been able to do at such a young age is just absolutely brilliant. The way he's kind of climbed on. He's also an example of what we just heard previously, what Mr. Gopalakrishnan was talking about, having been with medicine for such a long time. And that's the right way to kind of build your own self, your career, and your company and your organization. So Chintan, I mean, that's the other bit of it. But to quickly introduce Chintan, yes. So yes, Brandfest Season 2 welcomes you, Chintan Soni. Chintan comes with 16 plus years of total experience in this domain. He heads the digital product and data science division, developing cutting-edge ad tech and martech products to solve gruelling challenges in digital marketing. He's passionate about understanding behavioral economics, using data and analytics as core backbone. He's deploying the exciting array of new age technologies like ML, R, BigQuery, Google Cloud, ADH, DMP, CDP, MDP for the possibilities they offer in optimizing marketing funnel and ad effectiveness. He firmly believes AI ML as a concept will automate a lot of marketing functions. Just post-COVID and having heard of things that we had never heard of before, I think a lot of us here are going to learn a lot from all these acronyms that we just heard, where you're going to bring in a lot more insight into it. The other is, obviously, we know that we are still in kind of a nascent stage, as far as adapting digital technologies are concerned, especially from a marketing perspective. Especially when you keep saying that the micro and the macro KPIs need to be aligned correctly. We always talk about funneling, whether we're at the top or the bottom. Based on that, we realize that a lot of digital agencies are also kind of still groping and grappling with everything that is around. We have a lot of tools, a lot of data available. If data is available, analytics aren't. If analytics is available, most organizations are unable to really utilize it in the best possible way. So as much as we know that we are in the nascent stage as India, we also know that we are, very early adapters. We are good adapters as Indians because technology has penetrated deep down. And before we know it, the future is right here. And metaverse, NFTs, very attractive. Things are coming in. MI, data, of course, and AI. Let's see what you can, help us kind of clear all these different clouds that we have in our minds. So over to you, Chintan. Welcome.
Lovely, Niraj. Thank you very much, Niraj, for this wonderful introduction. So I'll just, just pick up the thread that you actually just said right now. While digital has actually just started picking up from the overall penetration point of view, but India is actually making a lot of marks when it comes to overall use of the technology. For example, in 2015, 2014, when we actually started seeing Tata Housing selling homes online, that was the first in the world. The UPI systems that we actually see right now is actually making the mark across the world, at a scale how we have actually deployed such a foolproof system where the transaction can happen just with your mobile number in a place, right? You don't literally need anything else. Like, for example, I literally stopped traveling with my wallet these days. Everything that I do is absolutely through UPI. And yesterday it was in news that now a lot of other countries are actually taking the clues, and Nepal has agreed basically taking the UPI system ahead and implement it in their country. So that itself is like a privilege. And next 10 years or next 5 years is going to be really, really exciting, specifically when it comes to digital marketing as a domain. Now, with that, what I will do is that I will just start presenting my screen, that how we are looking at digital today and what is in it for marketers for tomorrow. So let me share my screen, and I'll actually keep juggling between two screens, just to show you some of the things brands have been doing. So just give me 2 minutes on this. Yeah. All right, lovely. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start with a 30,000 feet overview and deep dive into individual categories more from the marketing lens, and how we can actually start using them. And I'll try to give the nuggets. How can you start leveraging the trends which we are seeing these days in real world, and not just numbers and numbers and trends at the same time. So this is going to be the broader agenda. We'll just look into the digital ecosystem and the landscape, how the overall digital is moving, and then how individual categories, specifically when it comes to entertainment, social media, short format videos that we see these days, how they are actually taking shape. What are the top categories, and basically how brands can actually deep dive into individual genres, and then what are the future trends that we should definitely try leverage for whatever advertisement that we are doing for the brand or the digital marketing. So with that, I would like to just touch upon a digital ecosystem at an overall level. Just to give you a little background, it took about 35 years to add about 200 million TV owning homes in India. If I just speak about digital, we added somewhere around 250 million users in 12 years, which is between 2003 and 2015. If I just take that pre-Geo period. Interestingly, we added another 250 million in just 1.5 years. So what that means is that the moment Geo launched, it just straight away added the 250 million users, which could not have been added in the entire decade that has gone by. Yeah. So that is the power, and that is the revolution that Geo has actually brought into the India, basically due to the lower data cost and everything that we already know. Now, if I just give you again the overview at a top level, India has about 1.3 billion of total population. About 622 million people are now actively using internet in last 30 days. If I just take a monthly active users cut on the internet, versus now, if I just give you a overview between rural and urban, it is about 360 million and for 263 million in urban. So rural is basically now adding more number of internet users than actually urban these days. Again, coming back to male and female ratio, it used to be when I actually started my entire career journey in 2005 and 6, the ratio was almost around 85-15. I'm actually glad to see a lot of females are now taking active use of the internet, and they are making the more informed choices. They're influencing the decisions of the a male or a breadwinner in the home. So that itself is a very, very big thing. something, and 200 million active female users for any sort of a CPG brand is like a a gold mine, where you can just go ahead and actually do a lot of fine targeting in terms of the geo, and in terms of the demo, in terms of the interest that we actually see. Data cost in India is actually the lowest in the world. If you look at entire world stack, with Switzerland being at about $20 per GB, India is just 0.26 dollar, which means somewhere around 15 to 16 rupees per GB. If you actually see the consumption graph here on this right hand side, it has gone exponentially, and this is only due to the geo kicking in, and rest of telcos following the geo phenomena, and they actually literally set the industry standard. Like if you hear the Geo launch, Mukesh Ambani, that for India to if we want to basically change the industry, we will change the industry, and they literally made it like so. I tell this to a lot of people, like when Reliance Communication first time ever came into the India, that used to be even a charge for incoming calls. When they came into the India, they made the incoming call free. When they came second time with the leadership of Mukesh Ambani, they made incoming and outgoing completely free with one pack that you actually refill, and basically all the calls are like unlimited, almost on unlimited level. It is completely free. So that is a power that has actually it has brought into the land of India, and how it has actually impacted the lives of day-to-day activities that we do. With that, I just want to give you a glimpse of what India does throughout the day, and this basically helps you in planning the media activities and planning your advertising campaigns very effectively. So I'm not sure if you know, but in digital, you can literally do a lot of time-bound targeting. For example, if I am a QSR brand selling burgers or pizza online, for a pizza brand, it may make sense to just target people at the high intent time, which could be something like a like a post 6 p.m. in the evening. But for a burger, which could be a snacking kind of a product, my prime time could be 2 p.m. So for those kind of brands, I can actually leverage the different mediums. So if you can literally see it from the left to right, gaming utilities actually are like something which actually gets traction during late nights. In the early morning, it is all about news and lifestyle, and I've actually listed down some of the platforms like Aaj, ABP News, Daily Hunt. Specifically when it comes to the daytime, which is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., all basically your entertainment and music actually sees the spike. When it is about early evening, your social and your basically P2P messaging platform actually gets to see the spike. And specifically again, when it comes to the prime time, which is 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., all the news and entertainment genres again takes the lead in this. How it helps is that again, you can take the genres and take these genres, take this platform, again weave it into your time-bound strategy and plan your campaigns accordingly. YouTube specifically as a only single channel continues to dominate the entire primary platform on digital, with almost out of 600 or 622 million users that I just spoke about, 471 million users can only be reached through YouTube. Just to give you perspective, YouTube reach in India is larger than the Star Plus reach from the TV perspective. So Madison actually does a complete through the funnel planning and completely integrated planning. So we know how TV works, we know how print works, we know how radio works. And we basically give a like a completely unbiased solution to the client. So for a brand task where I can only achieve that brand task through YouTube as a medium, I will not deploy anything else like a radio or a print or a TV campaign. So I decide that basis on the penetration of the medium. I decide basis on what time spent people actually do on that medium, and multiple other engagement parameters. With that, I just would like to give you some perspective and numbers in terms of a TV versus digital. So, and this basically broken down at a different markets level and a different age group level. So, wherever your bullseye TG is, you can see that on the Northwest, TV is basically somewhere around 68% penetration. Digital is somewhere around 59% penetration in young ages. So basically 15 to 50 as an age group actually sees a very, very high penetration of digital. what is the action point here is that wherever we have a higher budget skew on the brands for catering to younger audience. So if your brand is basically targeting younger audience, digital should be the part of your regular media mix. You can see that in Maharashtra, it is almost equivalent to TV penetration. So 81% TV reach and digital reach is somewhere around 80% in 15 to 30 as an age group, and almost equivalent in the 31 to 50 as an age group as well. Time spent on TV and digital, I'm just, literally doing a very, very top level comparison, seeing what is the age group that we have. So right from 15 to 21, 21 to 30, what is the time spent that you actually see and how it has actually grown over the period of time. So this is just a comparison of O&D, which is October, November, December 2020 and October, November, December 2021. And what is the time spent? So you can see that TV is literally declining in all the age group, but the digital is actually commanding the higher time spent and higher time share. Again, one more metric to look at when you are designing your campaign strategy. I already said that video contributes a very, very large part, not just in terms of the time spent, but also from the AdX point of view. So Madison actually releases something called a AdX, which is an ad expenditure study on a year-to-year level. We just concluded the event 2 days before, and that report is actually out in the public, and I'll just share the link for everyone to access, where we actually measure saying that at a pan-India level, how the total industry is moving in terms of the ad expenditure. So how much TV, how much spend is contributed by TV, print, radio, digital, and so on and so forth. Now within digital as the ecosystem, video is basically taking almost 29% of the share, versus search is somewhere around 22%, social is somewhere around 27%. The biggest thing in the report that we actually concluded 2 days before is that if you look at the total 75,000 crore that gets spent in the advertising world, almost 35,000 crore gets spent on the TV as advertising. TV used to be the largest pie in terms of the market share. But in 2022, we are expecting the digital to surpass TV, and it will become the largest medium for the advertising. So it is not just now a digital as a medium, but it has already become the mainstream medium. That is a key takeout here. Now, if I basically deep dive into multiple categories within digital, what has changed from the previous year in digital? Specifically, news, entertainment, and social media has seen the spike between 17 to 18%. You can see the numbers on my screen here. Education, specifically, online education has seen a very steep rise, which is somewhere around 27 odd percent. So that is where actually a lot of investment, even if you read the investor community and the funding alerts and everything, I think you will see that how education and the investment in edtech is actually happening. And I will just start doing a deep dive into these categories. So I'll try sharing my insights on entertainment. I'll try sharing some of the insights on search, how social media is moving, what are the trends that we see in e-commerce, how can we leverage gaming and news specifically. So entertainment as a category, just an overview of a top consumed platform in entertainment as a category. Of course, COVID-19 had the ripple effect on the on-demand video content, specifically like your YouTube, Hotstar, Sony Live, C5, and MX Player. If you take this platform into your media mix, and most of the platform now actually even have the self-serve model. So you even if you don't have the access to their sales team for some reason, you can always go to their ad section or the advertisement section and start launching your advertisement. So YouTube launching an ad on YouTube is pretty easy. It's just like doing some few clicks and setting up the campaign the way you do it on search and display. It is damn easy to actually set up. The same way with Hotstar and some of the other players. So what is the action point here? That you continue your investment on YouTube and OTTs to build the reach and frequency and leverage the high completion rate. The beauty of this entire video advertisement is that you get to see the impact of your communication in real time. What happens in TV is that, if you would like to see the impact of your TV commercials, one is that it will require a very large amount. You can't advertise on TV below certain thresholds, is what we all know, right? But in digital video specifically, you can just do a very fine test between your different creatives with just about 10,000 rupees as a budget. And then there is something called a completion rate, or a VTR, what we actually gauge in digital on a day-to-day basis, which is a view through rate. The way view through rate works is that how many total number of people who have just seen your advertisement for 5 seconds and skip the ad, versus, let's say, if your commercial duration is 20 seconder, how many of them have then completed the full 20 seconder. So you can know that, let's say if you have two different creatives, you can easily find out saying whether the creative A has a higher view through rate or a creative B has a higher view through rate. And once you actually do this pilot and somewhat of the taste, then it becomes a very easy for you to actually put more money and the budget on the working creative and the hard working creative. Original content specifically is increasing in India, and Netflix itself has just invested 3,000 odd crore in original content in 50 different films in last 2 years. What is a key takeout here is that don't look at OTT advertisement only from the buying a regular media and the impressions sort of a deal, but also look at if there can be some sort of a fine integration between your brand proposition and the content that is going to come. I may just very quickly show you one of the video where for Setwet, where in one of the brand that we actually handle, which is a Setwet brand, how we have actually done the content integration in the Bangti. And I'll just very quickly play that a 10-seconder clip from this video. So this is the song where we actually, Setwet is a gel, and we thought that it actually appeals to 15 to 30 as an age group a lot, and almost 60-70% of the sale comes from 15 to 30 as the age group. We thought that Dabang 3 would be the right right movie to actually do some sort of integration, and we actually did this song integration. I'll just very quickly play the video. The idea is that find the right opportunity and invest in original content partnership beyond just your regular media investment. That is a key takeout here. Again, I will cover this point a little more in detail in later part of my presentation, but almost if you look at pan India and number of over the top players, about there are about 12 to 15 regional OTT apps today, and as we speak, they most of them are actually now open to the advertising. So in Andhra Pradesh, there is something called AHA, which south. There is a Sun Next, which is actually commanding the entire south as a market, and then there are a lot of such other OTT players in India, regional OTT players in India, where you can find a very finely targeted audience for your brand. If I just would like to do a very top level number comparison between 2019 and 2015 between the kind of content that is getting consumed. So of course, you can see that Hindi content is definitely going to rise, and regional content will regional content will actually take a leap, and it will have the largest by 2025. So start looking at the opportunities which actually arises in regional content. With that, I would like to just tell you, across all the OTT players that we speak right now, what are the targeting options available, and it just the list goes on and on, right from the demographic targeting, which is your age group and gender. You can target channels. So if you only select certain channels which are very important to you, and you can see that you can find your audience on those set of channels, you can just literally select the channel targeting. You can also do a very, very fine placement targeting. What it means is that, let's say if there is a problem solving brand that we would like to advertise, something like, let's say, a stretch mark solution or a scar solution brand that I would like to advertise for, what I will do is that I will just try to see that on YouTube, which all are the videos which has the highest number of views, and I can just cherry pick those videos, place those URLs in the placement targeting, and start basically advertising only on those videos. So that can also be done. You can only target location. These days, location targeting is available at a city level, and in some of the cities, you can also target at a pin code level. So you really don't have to basically do like for example, if I want to do a TV advertisement and my brand is only catering to Mumbai as a market, it is very difficult because 80-70% of the money that I will invest in TV will be spilled because there is no Mumbai specific channel that I can actually try and targeting. But with the digital, I can always select Mumbai as a city, and I can just geofence that particular location and start advertising myself. You can do a lot of custom affinity, which means if you don't have the sense of the placement, you can always think of the keywords your people will search, or your consumer or your target audience will search, and start building the list of the relevant keyword and the relevant websites that they will visit, and then you can target them as well. You can actually do a lot of interest targeting. What it actually means is that, let's say in last 30 days, if I have interacted with let's say some sort of a hair care ads, or if I have interacted with some sort of a skincare content, I can keep targeting those people on different interests. You can do a lot of topic and contextual targeting, which means I can just select a topic like something like a news as one of the topic, or I can just say that only financial news is something that I would like to target. If I am basically advertising anything which is related to finance as a genre. Yeah, there's a lot of remarketing that you can do with the first party data, and it's a very, very powerful, ad effectiveness you can drive with remarketing. Remarketing essentially means that a person who has actually interacted with your brand, either in terms of watching the full video, or if they have actually clicked on your video, you can actually use some of the technology and start actually bucketing them as your first party audience. You would always have seen that the moment you let's say view any Nike shoe or a Reebok shoe on Amazon, the moment you exit Amazon.com, the ad will keep following you, right? So that's where the remarketing actually kicks in. It exactly knows that what product you have actually browsed on my website, and then I can keep following you with the targeted communication. In most of the cases, what we have seen is that when we use a recruitment strategy with remarketing strategy, the conversion rate or whatever metric that I'm using for acquiring a consumer or a customer goes up by 5 to 6% easily with remarketing. There is something called a similar audience you can do as a targeting, which means, let's say if there are some 500 people who have actually converted in my system, let's say if I am advertising personal loan as a category, and in last 30 days, if 500 people have actually filled in a lead form, I can actually tell the system saying that find more such audience in the system. Instead of actually doing a guesswork, I just instruct the system saying that these are the number of audience who have actually shown a high intent and high conversion. Just find more such audience in the pool. You can do rural versus NCCS, rural versus urban targeting. And there are a lot of NCCS surrogates that you can actually use, which means a lot of brand in specifically in the mass market, they have this definition of whether the brand is catering to NCCS A or NCCS B or C and something like that. Now digital is actually mimicking the targeting of TV. So you can actually look at the device level targeting. I would like to target people who only has the device of 50,000 or more, and that way you can actually try reaching to the affluent audience. What is a key takeaway from the entertainment as the as a genre is that you continue with your reach and frequency campaign on YouTube and OTT with monthly users spiking month over month and a quarter over quarter. Start basically leveraging all the targeting options that are there and start measuring the effectiveness using some of the digital lead indicators like a VTR and a completion rate. Use the content partnership wherever it is possible, specifically if you foresee some sort of a partnership that you can see where your brand can get a really powerful uplift. Try leveraging those partnerships and invest in regional content because that is actually going to drive the next wave of the digital video consumption. And I'll just try doing a deep dive into the social media. Again, if you look at the social media space, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat is actually dominating this space with Facebook reaching almost 500 million users at this stage. All the, if you look at specifically Facebook and Instagram, they have the highest actually time spent in December, May, and July thereafter. Actually, what is the action point here? Start leveraging this space if you are not doing it already. We might be already doing some sort of advertisement on Facebook and Instagram because that is very well penetrated, not just from the user point of view, but also from Instagram point of view. But I would like to highlight a point here on the Twitter and Snapchat is something what we have learned is that if you really want to drive some sort of an incrementality in the overall number of user acquisitions that you're doing, because what happens is that after a certain point of time, you start hitting the plateau in Facebook and Instagram, where the incremental users would come at a much higher cost than what has been the average cost of acquisition in past 1 month or past 1 quarter. That's where your Twitter and Snapchat comes into the picture because these are relatively less cluttered platform from the advertiser's point of view. And the most of the time, and 80% of the platform in digital works on the auction based buying, which means for every ad that you place, you are bidding against some or other advertiser, which means if there are 500 advertisers on Facebook and Instagram for your target audience versus if there are 100 advertisers for the same audience on Twitter and Snapchat, your cost of acquisition on Twitter and Snapchat will be much lower because the auction intensity will be much lower. And we actually use this platform very well to drive incrementality. You said that social reaches out to almost 70% of the total internet users. So after basically using video as a genre or a YouTube and OTT as a genre, these are next bet where you can actually find most of the highly engaged users. What is the key to win is very important because if I look at the digital performance, there are 3 key aspects. One is the entire media optimization and how well you plan and structure your campaigns when you buy the media. Second is what is the communication and the creative that you are using, and what is the experience that you are creating after the person actually clicks on your ad. This, if you actually fix these 3 things, there is nothing that can actually come closer to the competition. Most of the time, what I've seen is that either one of the leg is very strong, but other legs like your communication leg or your basically like your on asset experience is very poor in most of the campaign that I actually see these days, which means the ad dollars that you are actually investing is not working very hard and is not giving you the effective field. Now, when you design, for example, with our own study, if you design the your video duration at an average of 8 seconds to 10 seconds, that is the optimum length of the film. You can't run the film which is somewhere around 45 seconds or a 1 minute and expect people to actually view the full ad and then engage with your brand. So try basically creating some thumb stopper creatives, and I'll try to show you some of the brands who have actually leveraged this space very well. Let me just play a couple of video, and I'll leave this link for the future reference. Yeah, I'll just play this for like 30-40 seconds. So it's a collection of about it's a compilation of about 22 Facebook thumb stopper ads, and which we can try leveraging as one of the example and try creating for the brands that we would like to advertise.
Chintan, so we can't get the sound, for sure. When you're playing through YouTube, I think we don't get your sound.
Yeah, so I leave this video with everyone.
No, I think Chintan, this would have been really good. Compilation would have really added a lot of obviously a break to a lot of technical data, as well as I think there would have been a lot of questions which have come in through this, because these were so brilliant, some of them, as we remember.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely. And it actually passes the message within just 8-10 seconds. Like, and it's a compilation. There are very, very powerful ads we can actually try taking the reference from, right?
yeah.
So I'll leave this link with everyone, so we can refer for the future.
Okay.
Details that we are designing.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, this is again a same example. This is a link already there. I'll anyway share this presentation with everyone. With that, I would like to touch upon specifically if you're leveraging social as a platform, it's not the one size that fits all the strategy. So in Facebook, you have carousel ad, in Facebook, you have canvas ads, in Facebook, you have catalog ads, and you have to make sure that you read the ad material requirement very, very careful before you start designing. So there are aspects, ratios that you need to take care. There is a dimensions that you need to take care. There is some sort of a text that you write on your image that needs to be within 20% of the thing. Otherwise, your ad won't actually participate in the large auctions and everything. There are some of the basics things that we need to take care, but that actually has an exponential effect on the total on any of the lead metrics that we actually check upon. With that, so while we have seen social media and everything is basically taking the lion's share of the lion's share of the total internet user, short format videos is actually showing a very, very powerful uptrend these days. As you would, I'm not sure if you've read this, but ShareChat has recently acquired MX Takatak in a very, very large deal of about somewhere around 600 million US dollar. And ShareChat is already garnering somewhere around 350 million users on a monthly level. Again, a very, very powerful platform. You can start advertising on ShareChat, not just for your brand advertisement, but also for the performance advertisements that we are doing. All right. So I was just, sharing my thoughts, saying that short format videos, again, from the brands and advertiser point of view, a very, very less cluttered space these days. Something that we should definitely start leveraging on, because again, while I've said that YouTube should be the default line item and the OTT should be at the default line item, if your message can be said within 6 seconds and within 5 seconds, technically you can also start leveraging this platform, specifically when it comes to the tier 2 and tier 3 sort of a targeting, tier 3 sort of a market that you're targeting. And people need to be reached in the language they speak, not in the language that we think is basically taking the dominance. So you need to start looking at different creatives, and with the digital, technically you can target individual cities and the markets with the individual creatives and the personalized creatives. So this is what we actually do with a lot of our brand is where we actually design a set of multiple creatives, and not just from the a state level sort of targeting that we do. We literally do a targeting where the dialect is changing at every 50 kilometers in India. So within Maharashtra, a dialect of Nashik will be different versus a Pune versus a Mumbai, right? So that is how we actually also within the state we start designing the creative strategy, and that is how we actually see the power of digital coming in. Because like I said, if your media is very strong, but if the communication is weak, you are not going to see the right effectiveness in the dollars that you are investing. I'll just quickly do a deep dive in search. As we know that when I started my career in 2005, digital marketing was was not there. The only word was there was search marketing or SEO or SEM that we are used to call it. Even today we call it. And of course, when it comes to any sort of performance marketing these days, search actually takes the lion's share. I mean, you can't run your performance marketing campaign without Google search being a default line item. And it is continued to take dominance after Google has actually enabled the search through voice also. So that basically entire voice enabled search is adding a lot of new users at an overall level. If I look at just Google at an overall level, it basically has some, the trend is actually growing at an overall level with about 30-35% month over month growth. And at an overall level, it is reaching 441 million users. What are the top searches that has actually happened in 2021? So at an overall level, it is which is IPL. Of course, we know COVID because of the entire COVID wave and the drive for the vaccination, Euro Cup. There's one interesting thing that I would like to tell you is that there's a very big spike that is happening in near me and how to search is. So if you are targeting any sort of a campaign, and if you are not using how to sort of a keyword in your targeting parameter, then you are actually missing out on a big chunk of audience who could likely to convert in the system, right? So that is something that you should definitely start leveraging in. If I recollect the numbers right, 1 in actually 3 searches are happening for the nearby keyword, which means a COVID center near me, or a food delivery near me, or a lawyer's near me. So if you are again using some sort of keyword targeting, ideally include all the nearby searches so that you can actually try attracting local and hyper local traffic as well on your site. I'm not sure if you know, but YouTube is a second largest search engine after Google. Okay, so there is a way you can actually do a lot of fine targeting within YouTube as a system also. So let's say if you have a content which you don't want people to come to your website and see it, but you have put that video on YouTube and you would like people to see that, you can just launch a campaign on YouTube search, and the moment people search any relevant of the keyword, your video will be on right top there. So again, very powerful use case. So some of the example of YouTube search and how it actually looks like. We can see that you can actually take almost first follow the page, and not just that, you can actually direct traffic from YouTube to your landing page where the conversion can also take place. So it actually drives the dual objective of making your brand aware, and at the same time driving the conversion out of it. Should we just stop at when we are running some sort of a performance marketing campaign, should we just look at Google ecosystem, or should we go beyond that? With that, I would just like to tell you that there is a new kid in the room, which is Quora, not new from the usage point of view, but new from the advertisement point of view, which has almost 100 million active users. And you can actually do lot, and users actually, when you look at the Quora as a medium, users on Quora are way more engaged because it's a proper question and answer forum where you can start targeting users on the basis of the topic they read upon, or on the kind of questions they ask. Like one of the brand I was advertising a couple of weeks before was catering to audience which are only looking for hair fall solutions. Okay, and specifically if they are looking for hair fall oil as a solution and not as a shampoo or anything else as a solution. And I selected saying that, what could be my right choice of platform? Of course, Google and Facebook, Google and YouTube of the world will naturally come into the top. But if I want to create the third line item, I actually created with Quora. I selected all the questions which was about hair fall oil, and you won't believe the conversion rate on the Quora was actually 2x than what I get it even from the search. So it is the users I very engaged on this platform. So try taking a look at Quora advertisement. Again, it's a very easy to just go to Quora, start looking at the advertisement section, and you can start launching the campaign by just adding your credit card details. This is how you can actually look at the targeting on Quora with multiple options as you're basically targeting parameters. So what are the key takes away from the search as a genre is that at least for the performance brand, always be on search, and you can basically try, even if you're, for example, building some sort of a mid-funnel marketing, which is where you want to drive the consideration. Search can be very powerful with the how-tos and why of the videos. You can actually also now leverage not just one as a search as a platform to drive mid of the funnel or the bottom of the funnel, but you can use the platform like Quora and other forum-based advertising to start leveraging upon the engaged users, and try leveraging all the long tail keyword, which actually gives you the higher number of conversions at a much efficient cost. And I would like to just touch upon the e-commerce as a genre, how that is actually moving. E-commerce in India specifically, as we speak, in 2021 has reached almost about 200 million active users, which is a very big thing. And again, most of the, specifically if it is a product-based advertisement, before even you start advertising on search or anything which is related to intent driven, I think you should start leveraging some of the key dominant platform like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, and Big Basket. Most of this platform again has the advertisement options enabled, where you can do a lot of fine targeting in terms of a lot of fine targeting in terms of the competition product, or even if at an overall search level, if you would like to target certain users, you can always look at those sort of targeting. You can create the entire brand store and promote the entire bouquet of the products that you have. If I speak about Amazon and Flipkart, they are neck to neck in terms of the numbers. So Flipkart and Amazon clock somewhere around 70-80 million monthly active users, and specifically during the festive time, the number of user growth is at least 30-35% higher than what actually they see on a day-to-day basis. These days now, you can also advertise on some of the long tail platforms like a Big Basket and Grofers of the world. So that again is a very powerful medium to start actually leveraging. E-commerce definitely is expected to drive a online retail market space. It is actually already making the mark. So one of the staple brand that we actually handle in Madison, the total 35% of the total sale, it's a FMCG staple food brand, is coming from e-commerce, which is a very big thing. Like if I just would like to do some sort of a like-to-like comparison, a modern trade like your hyper city or your D-Mart of the world would not be driving, let's say, more than at an overall level, would not be driving more than 10-12% of the sales of any CPG brand that we speak about, right? But e-commerce driving a 35% contribution at an overall sales level is definitely a trend that you should definitely leverage upon. Should we look at e-commerce as only option where we can only advertise for a bottom of the funnel metrics like a sales or a purchase or some sort of a transaction or repeat purchase, or should we basically look at for some of the top funnel targeting also? That is a question, right? I would say that e-commerce can also be looked at for a top funnel targeting, where you can try leveraging something called a Amazon DSP, which means you can target people who have actually shown some sort of a purchase history basis the product. Let's say if I want to target people who have purchased hair fall shampoo in past 1 month, and if I would like to advertise my hair fall oil brand to them, I can target them outside Amazon also, because not like you won't be spending more time on e-commerce unless you want to do some sort of a active purchase in the moment that you are in, right? So what happens is that, but I can always leverage the data of your past purchase history using Amazon DSP. So that is a very powerful. I think you need to basically start leveraging and collaborate with e-commerce partner, and you can actually drive a lot of top of mind recall awareness using the DSPs sort of a solutions that they offer. Paytm also now has a Paytm DSP. Flipkart also has Flipkart DSP, which means all the users who are shopping on Flipkart, Paytm, Amazon can be targeted actually outside the Flipkart and Amazon. These are some of the targeting options available. So you can actually target in-market researcher, which means if they've searched some sort of a large appliance or a kitchen appliance, I can target them. You can do a lot of persona-based targeting. So if I want to just do a targeting of, let's say, a Prime Video subscribers, I can actually do that. I can target a lot of service. I can do a lot of consumption of service-based targeting, which means of people who have actually taken some sort of a subscription or a travel consumers, or they basically are subscribed to the food delivery, then I can target them, and then I can use a lot of of other like a device level or browser or OS level targeting when it comes to the cutting the target audience by affluence and demographic. Again, a very powerful way of targeting. Just about 125 million homemakers are there who basically have transacted at a different kirana stores or online grocery apps. This can be easily targeted via e-commerce DSPs. Which all where it's just a very top comparison where you actually have the option where you have options of advertising online and where you do not have. So of course, a self-serving platform, Flipkart has just literally released it right now. The DSP platform right now is in beta. You can actually do search and display targeting both on the from the inventory capability point of view. I've already just touched upon and preempted this saying that about 50 FMCG companies actually seeing some 50% jump in e-commerce sales in the financial year 2021. Very powerful mark and the metric to look at. But what are the key drivers of the online shopping? The one is definitely direct delivery to my home. These days, the quick commerce is taking a very big leap with the kind of investment that we are hearing in happening in Zepto and Dunzo kind of a world where they literally promise the delivery in 10 minutes is actually making a mark in this industry and completely doing a radical shift in the way people buy on this retailers platform. At an overall level, the total addressable market in D2C as a space is also going to reach about 100 billion by 2025. So not just the on-platform advertisement, which means advertisement on Google and Facebook and specifically on the e-commerce platform, but also the if you're building your own D2C website, I think start leveraging a lot of organic traction using SEO. So the moment the trend picks up, you are basically ready for the for the trend that is about to change. Some of the winning recipe for e-commerce is that start creating awareness using DSP to build top of mind recall amongst the key audience, drive consideration, so be present on different touch points across the consideration journey. You can actually drive a lot of conversions being present on the lower funnel metrics and try using sponsor ads and the sponsored promotions, which Flipkart and Amazon is right now offering. And basically, if brands are offering any sort of a D2C product, you can actually start leveraging a lot of first party data and start creating a lookalike of people who are already purchasing your brand. With that, I'm just concluding this session of what are the key takeaways from the different categories. Is saying one is one of the biggest thing is that digital is going to touch about 900 million users in next 3 to 4 years from 600 millions, which we are already right now seeing, which means if I just give you a very top comparison at an pan India level, TV will have out of 1.3 billion population, TV will be somewhere around 890 million total reach. Digital will be 900, which means TV, it will take over the TV as a highest medium reach, and it will come at a much affordable rate than how you can actually advertise on TV these days. Entertainment and OTT specifically leverage them as a integral part of your total media mix in the audio video planning that you're doing. Start taking action on the search specifically for the bottom of the funnel metrics that you are looking at, like your performance marketing. Start leveraging social media and use the thumb stopper videos to make sure that your communication strategy is very powerful. And of course, e-commerce, like we all know, is continue and will continue to grow, but have you leveraged to your benefit is going to be the key factor deciding your basically success in the e-commerce. With that, I'll just touch upon some of the trends that we can actually look in 22 and 23. So some of the topic that I will be touching upon, one is rural marketing. I've already touched upon short format videos. I'll touch upon the metaverse, how we can actually start leveraging I will touch upon the video commerce. How can we start leveraging video from the, not just from the one-sided communication point of view, but how can we make it more interactive? I'll be touching upon the connected TV. For the paucity of the time, I may not be touching upon the blockchain and NFT, but happy to take any questions that you have. How can we basically try, leveraging technology and content creators here? So when this very important thing is that when we look at for any sort of a trend, it's easy to basically mistake a fad for a trend in the initial days. But if you actually wait too long, you will actually miss the buzz. Specifically, if I just want to, preempt some of the slides that I'm going to present, connected TV in India is going to take a very, very big shape. Now, from the numbers point of view, if I look at the connected TV in India, may not look that big, because on a 600 million internet user connected TV at a 50 or 45 million total users will look small. But is that trend changing? It is basically growing at 100% or 115% year over year. So that is where I think you need to just start seeing that is the trend actually keeping the growth trajectory intact, and then can you start leveraging that? With that, I would like to just touch upon rural via digital. Like I said, in India, if I just divide the India in between rural and urban, about 300 and 404 odd active internet users are actually from rural, and there is a lot of headroom to actually grow over that. And from the household point of view, about 108 million active households are there in the rural marketing, which means 54% of the rural households in India have an active internet connection. How we can start, if we are basically again looking at some sort of a mass market strategy, how we do it is that, let's say if there is a mass market task that we have, which we would like to advertise, we look at the total TV deliveries. We built a plan. Of course, the TV, let's say TV plan of a 5 crore will always show a delivery like 50% at 3+ in UP, but let's say it will show some 50% at 5+ in Delhi as a market. Now, if I want to up the frequency in UP as a market, I can only do a UP specific digital plan and combine it with my TV. What it actually gives me, it gives me the combined output of a TV and digital, which means a person will have an impact of seeing my ad on both the medium, which means it will have a multiplier impact on the consumer's mindset. So that is how you can actually start looking at the different market cuts with I think if you use some sort of a tools like a Facebook reach planner, you can try identifying that how many active internet users are there in one pocket of the market and just launch a campaign in that market. 71% of the new users are actually expected to come from the rural, because if you look at the urban phenomena, the penetration of the digital has already happened, but the new users who would now come into digital would actually come from rural. So this basically is a market, and I think is an opportunity for all of us to actually leverage upon. You won't believe actually, Snapdeal as an advertiser, 80% of the sale is actually coming from tier 3 and tier 4 and rural sort of a market. So they don't even target a metro. So you will never find Snapdeal advertising in the metro and tier 1 market. They will always target users in tier 3 and tier 4 sort of a markets. That's where the real growth is actually coming in. If you look at Jio, it is not just a telco as a player, but there are a lot of advertising options that you can actually leverage across the Jio offering. So 50% of a Jio universe has the device of below 10K, which means if you are looking at again some sort of a task where it caters to the mass population, try using Jio as and drive active partnership with Jio to basically start layering your communication. I'll just I will very quickly touch upon the short format videos. So in India, if you look at a short format video, pretty much is being driven by likes of MX Takatak, now being part of Chat, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and the Trail. And you can again do a lot of regional content and the regional celebrity tie-up or a regional influencer tie-up to start leveraging the power of these short format videos to start communicating in the dialects your consumers are actually used to consume the content in. With about 600 million active internet users, 320 million, like I said, is already there on this video. And what is fueling the growth specifically? If I break down by tier 1, tier 2, and metro, vernacular focused video genres like such as comedy, dance, etc. will be preferred if you're targeting some sort of tier 1 sort of a market. But if you're looking at a tier 2 kind of a market, Hindi content is definitely preferred, with music, food, comedy as a genre, which are actually consumed most. And if you're targeting metro, ideally you can always basically target fashion, education, and motivational content, and that can also be leveraged in English as a content. One use case of actually Godrej hair color, it's a brand that we actually manage at a medicine level, in driving the relevancy with vernacular and festivities. So what we did is that we actually tied up with some aid beauty and lifestyle influencer in Maharashtra, and they basically asked to create some sort of the ads. You can see some of the metrics which are very encouraging. 3% click-through rate. We don't say whenever we advertise on social media or even any sort of a display ad, we don't see more than 1% click-through rate in any sort of the ad that we do, right? With about 6 million people seeing the entire video and 18% engagement rate. Again, if I do a like-to-like comparison on a social media platform, we don't see usually on the brand's ads, we don't see more than 5 to 6% engagement rate. So 18% engagement rate is definitely unheard of. 56% of the completion rate, which means about 100 people exposed on the video, 56% of have them actually seen the video to the full extent. Very, very powerful use case of leveraging some of this emerging platforms for the brand communication that you are looking at it. If you look at specifically India, 95% of the YouTube videos are consumed in the local language, and 90% of the video across internet are actually consumed in their local language. If you look at 70% of the Indians find local language content are more reliable and more relatable to their things. What is the action point here? Media creative should definitely be in regional language as much as possible. So Gujarati, Telugu, and when you actually start looking, whenever you are looking at the brand, if you do not want to target certain set of state, you can actually do a language-wise targeting as well. So let's say I'll take an example of Godrej Properties brand that we actually handle. We were actually launching a property in Ahmedabad, where I wanted to actually target people who are Gujaratis but are actually residing in Mumbai and Maharashtra as an overall target market level. So what I did is that I didn't use the geo specific targeting. I used the language specific targeting, and I targeted all the Gujaratis sitting in basically Maharashtra and other part of the country. And actually, basically, when I did a like-to-like comparison, I saw some 7 to 8% jump in the walk-in ratio towards that property in Ahmedabad. I've already spoken about how the regional content is actually going to see a dramatic shift. So start leveraging this space very well. It's a very interesting part on the connected TV we would like to just speak about. I've already preempted the slide, but it is basically growing faster than ever. So in past just 1 year, it has grown up almost by 40%. And as we speak right now, there are about 45 million active users that we can target on connected TV. The beauty of this thing is that if you look at television, you can't target again at a market level. If I want to target Mumbai as a market, I will have to basically take a large HSM genre or some sort of a GC channel in my media mix. But I can only if I use connected TV, the beauty of that is that I will get the same immersive experience what TV creates, and the power of digital that I can leverage. So all the targeting options that I spoke about, the demographic, geographic targeting, the interest targeting, intent targeting, if I want to look at some sort of a device level targeting, everything that is possible in digital as a targeting, I can leverage that on a connected TV. So a new kid in the market, but a very promising trend that we should definitely leverage upon. But I'll just give a very top level glimpse on how the metaverse is actually moving. So I would like to, for everyone's understanding, what is metaverse is essentially the merger of virtual and augmented stuff and the physical reality that happens. It's in simple term, it is like stepping inside the internet. If I want to just give you perspective, again, from the advertiser's point of view, let's say if I am actually sitting in one part of city and I'm looking at buying a property which is, let's say 50 km away, or let's say 100 km away. I don't want to actually travel, but I want to basically create an experience where a user gets the same experience that he gets at when he visits the site. So the same experience I can actually create with my local sales office, and I can walk him through the entire site. Even if, the location literally doesn't matter, and he gets the same feeling. So that is what the metaverse, and there are tons of opportunities that we can actually create using the interactivity which it offers. So yeah, creators and the supporters of the metaverse envision its users working, playing, and staying connected with their friends, and that is how the entire interactivity takes place, and how it actually emerges. So you can see some. I will try sharing some of the very early use case of how brands have leveraged metaverse to communicate with their consumers. So people actually expects about it that it can take it may not look like a trend at this point of time, and may not look relatable at this point of time, but that is what happened, right? In 2008, when Facebook was taking the leap and bounce of the number of users, general public have not expected, but now everyone is there on the Facebook and Instagram, right? We all have adapted to the way we discover the content using any sort of a media and any sort of a social short format video, right? The same will happen. It may not look relatable at this point of time, but 10 years down the line, you will see the metaverse in reality. But is it something that we need to jump in it right now, or should we wait? But I think we should wait and see some brands actually try creating some of the experience, learning from that particular use cases, and try leveraging the trend. So this one brand, I'll share some of more such examples. So Stella is basically a beer brand that has been the sponsor of the horse horse racing for a lot of I think quite some time. They have actually leveraged this how they leverage the entire blockchain based online horse racing as a platform, and they created a lot of engagement on this. And I'll actually share this video once I actually end this presentation. Interactive videos is again a very big trend that the brands would actually see, and I'll actually try playing one video to give you some sort of a tangibility how it actually works. Yeah, just give me a minute. This is a Nike ad of a video where it is not just the one-sided communication, but I can literally do the interaction and play around with this video. So let me just play this. I select, let's say this is my favorite. Yeah. Okay, I select, let's say this is my opinion. Okay. So you can see that how how it has created this entire powerful experience with with full control on the interaction that I can actually do with that video, right? I'm just pausing the video again. I'll leave the link. There are a lot of such use cases with interactive videos. That's the thing. So yeah, it actually gives you a control what to do next, and it helps you watch the characters respond to the actions that you take upon, right? And there's basically increase a lot of consumptions, and you can finally actually drive a lot of consideration metrics after this, because people will be very, very hooked when they start seeing this. They can, it's not just one-sided communication. uh, and it is not just one, but you can actually do a lot of interactivity also. And from the advertisement point of view, lot of OTTs are like now supporting this format. So Netflix has launched the entire whole series on the same lines, where you can start leveraging upon this thing. Yeah, I've shown the example, which actually lets user style themselves, and they can actually see their own avatar in the products that they select. So, what are the key takeaways from the trends to look at? Rural, definitely 2/3 of the internet users in India will come from rural. Start looking at rural targeting if you are looking at some sort of a mass market advertisement. Short format video is going to stay. Definitely after the departure of TikTok in India, ShareChat is the largest platform, and Trail is something that you can start leveraging for a social commerce. You can actually do a lot of hyper personalization and customization to cut the media clutter, because I mean, the number of advertisements that we actually see on digital is definitely way, way more higher than we actually see it in any other. Start looking at some sort of a hyper personalization. Start partnering with the content creators, which will actually drive a very, very big role in moving the brand consideration. So look at the influencer marketing, look at the blogger outreach. Connected TV definitely is going to change. If I just again want to give you some sort of a perspective, a leading OEM in India is actually shipping almost 10,000 smart TV sets on a weekly basis. What it means is that every time now a replacement of the TV is coming into the picture, it is coming with a smart TV. And the moment people actually buy smart TV, all of 100% of them actually activate within 1 month, within 1 day of the buying the TV, right? So the next set of revolution that we are going to see are going to happen in connected TV, and it will radically shift the way we advertise on TV. Metaverse will bring a new dimension into the digital ecosystem. Watch close and make the right entry point. Okay. Blockchain and NFT I'm not covering today because of the paucity of the time, but I think with more players getting into this space, it needs to be watched very closely, and I mean, start leveraging for whatever task that you have. Video commerce is only set to grow from here on, and invest in the right avenues like the trail of the one. With that, I would like to just pause here, and if there are any questions, happy to take them.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, Chintan, thank you so much. I mean, this was absolutely a masterclass. So as much as it was that, I think the way you've kind of broken down all of these aspects, put them into, very relatable boxes.
Right.
And also kind of, I think, we know that you have so much of experience and knowledge and, understanding. But I think it is always very difficult to put it, and try and make it as simple as possible for everybody to kind of digest it. So I think you've done a great job at that as well, because that's always the a kind of a difficulty that we find as well. So what I'm going to do is, oh yes, I'm so sorry, my video is not on. I'll put that on, and then we'll start first taking a couple of questions from the chat box.
Sure, please.
I'm saying that Pranav had a question sometime back, and I hope he's still there to kind of hear this. It was just an addition to, or an observation that I think he's making, that there is a lot of other platforms like Discord and Reddit, which people are kind of also moving to. What is your quick take on that, with Insta and Facebook and Snapchat, as you were talking about?
Yeah, I think, see, like I just said, of course, Insta and Facebook are going to stay because it is very well penetrated. some of the platforms that you can definitely see, depends on the task that is there at a hand, right? If for some sort of a task, if Trail, for example, a social commerce platform where you can not just discover the product, but you can actually do the transaction on the platforms there and there itself. I think you can then try leveraging those sort of platforms. Misho, for example, actually has started with a B2B marketing, but now has actually come into the B2B to B2C marketing. Again, for if I am actually into more of a fashion and apparel as a market, and if I am a marketer in that particular category, I will start leveraging those platforms as well. But it really depends on the task that you have at a hand, and the platform choices will vary. But most of the time, what you will see is that if I look at a 600 million active internet users, and if I actually cut across by top 10 platform, all the platforms that I just spoke about will definitely reach 98% of the total internet users.
Excellent. And I think for everybody, what we need to understand is that as much as we have data, and whatever data we have today is kind of not constant, because that also kind of keeps changing. And I think
absolutely
right. And as you mentioned, trend and fad, we need to keep kind of always checking or have good digital partners to be able to know what exactly is really working at this point, especially for that particular part of the funnel or KPI. As you always
yeah, absolutely. See, I just would like to give one piece of tip here is that see, I mean, it's been 16 years in digital. I literally started when digital marketing word was not even formed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love doing a lot of hands-on experience, and with about 120 people reporting to me, I still do execution at this stage, right? I still take campaigns live, and that is a key, because I learn something new every day. If I don't log into Google dashboard, Facebook dashboard, a DV360 dashboard, or a Snapchat dashboard for like a month, I'll feel that I've lost something and I've actually missed something. So you definitely keep up to the date for because the trends are literally changing on a month over month. It's not the time where it is changing year on a year, but it's literally changing month over quarter over quarter.
True, very true, very true. Thanks. So Sajjan Shah had a question. Okay, I think Sajjan, a lot of it has been kind of answered in the rest of the presentation. Scope of digital marketing, of course. Neha had this question earlier where she was talking about lead conversion, and this is a general question. So I think it's a nice question. It's very, very basic in that sense, but I think everybody at the client end, whoever is kind of handling this, has more of a trouble in terms of lead conversion. And we've seen this very often fail because a lot of other systems, even from CRM, etc., is not in place, and your lead actually doesn't get converted, though the digital bit the data has been correct, it's been targeted well, you've been able to bring the customer on board, and then you're not being able to convert. Any tips on that?
Oh, lovely. So I think we do that on a day-to-day basis. So there is so see, I think depends on the CRM system that you're using, but let's say most of the time, like the Zoho of the world or Salesforce, if you're using, one is that they have a native integration with Google, Facebook, or all your top basically lead gen platform. The first thing that you can do is that immediately integrate your CRM system with Google and Facebook. And in Google and Facebook, you cannot just now optimize. I mean, Google and Facebook gives you the option to optimize the campaign for the lower funnel metrics and not just the top funnel metric like your leads or let's say interested leads. But let's say if you can you can actually optimize 100 leads generated, let's say 50 showing the interest and 10 converting. You can instruct the system saying that find more users who are likely to be who are similar to the 10 audience or the 10 customers that I have acquired. So you can first point of advice is that integrate your CRM to the media dashboard. If the integration is not possible, there is a service that you can actually use called Zapier, which actually enables the direct integration of your CRM to the media dashboard. Okay. I'll put that in the chat box. Just use that system.
Excellent, excellent. We had another question about Quora, and I think that was a great insight. Very often, I mean, even within our room here that we are sitting in, and some of our own colleagues, I think heads were turning. Oh, really, Quora? So that was a great insight. But but yeah, because we take a lot of these for granted, and knowing that 500 million users, I mean, that's amazing. So, I think we've touched upon that. And somebody, obviously, Rohan had a question, is that there's a lot of manipulation, but that's going to be there everywhere. I think you've got to figure out in terms of what you want to pick up. So I'm not even shooting that question to you.
Yeah. I think see, it depends on the marketing objective that you're chasing. And again, in digital, like I said, that you can do a trial and error with as less as 5,000, 10,000 rupees. Just invest, see if it is working, continue. If it is not working, stop.
Yeah. So I think, yes, correct. The entry barrier is low, I mean, in terms of
yeah.
Right. Another question which is kind of connected to targeting. And, I remember you mentioning something earlier in one of your other talks where we were talking about privacy. So I think this is kind of similar to this, right? That when there is so much of traffic, how effective is targeting and how much is it appreciated?
Okay, so I think I can talk about the privacy and the and basically brand safety and all these basically things that happens in the privacy and ad fraud as a word. But I think the larger point we would like to see more from the advertisers point of view is that 98% of the Janta do not actually care about the privacy. I mean, it is only like a very, very small layer of a people or a small percentage of the people who actually take the privacy very seriously. But if we talk about the 98% of the world, they don't care about the privacy. I mean, you can take any survey, but even for the rest of the 2% of the people, Google and Facebook is basically taking at most care in terms of preserving the data that you actually have. So Google is basically coming out with some sort of a format which is a flock based advertising, where they actually will not track the individual users, but it will try to create the cluster of the users who will actually exhibit the similar pattern in terms of the content consumption or the products that you browse or the pages that you actually visit and so on and so forth. So instead of tracking the users at an individual level, what you will actually see in coming days is that it will more of a nano cohort kind of a targeting that will come into the picture instead of a personalized marketing at a scale. But yeah, I don't think it is going to change the industry to a very, very great extent. Because I mean, for us, Google and Facebook could be the one channel of advertising, but for the giants like technologies giants, it is their bread and butter, right? The advertising is their bread and butter. Google's 90% of the Google revenue is coming from the advertising. So naturally, they're going to invest in making sure that the user privacy is intact. At the same time, the effectiveness of the ad is actually maintained.
Correct. Very nice. Yeah, I think and we will need to keep kind of striking that balance.
Yeah.
Another question, Chintan, I mean, I'll come to there are two questions on NFT. Yes, NFT is here to stay. It's still ambiguous in a lot of ways, but we will not kind of touch that today. And of course, it is going to benefit digital creators, Dr. Shashikant, because that's where it is. And there are two levels, right, for anything. I mean, artists also benefit when art is created, and art dealers also benefit when there is art.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you can keep any part of the game, right?
Everyone wins, basically.
Everyone wins, yeah. And earlier that you get in, better it is. So Vivek, think about it. Sleepless night for you. So we've got a very hard-pressing question, Chintan, and we come in so much from the branding side. And over a period of time, learning so much about digital, knowing that things are happening, we don't have our hands completely dug into it. But at the same time, I think a lot of our own partners are teaching us so much. Not only what to do, but also what not to do. Because certain things, right? Certain things.
In fact, I mean, one of the sessions that I just spoke about is that I mean, there is a very famous saying in marketing and digital or marketing or advertising as a world is that 50% of the money that I spend is actually wasted, but I don't know which 50%. But in digital, it's not true, because you can easily find out what is not working in digital, and then when you often find what is not working, gives you the best ROI for the dollars that you're investing.
Absolutely, yeah. Very, very true. And I think that's where this whole idea of data works. But it is not just that. And let me kind of ask you this point blank. Because of the lower end of the funnel, because of conversion, because of the pressure, and wherever you have data, the efficacy is understood only by the actual conversion, which means that if sales happen, that means, okay, my kind of advertising is work. right? And that is the difference between, traditional media versus, digital. Now, the moment that does not happen, or if it is too focused on sales and conversion, where do we really see the brand? Because we sometimes feel that the brand and the sales targeting becomes so kind of anti each other. It kind of does not benefit it. It in fact harms it as a whole. So, do you think there is a strategy in place? Do you think that
yeah. See, I always also, I mean, while with the the power that digital offers in terms of the targeting and in terms of the audience cuts that you can actually apply, I always also go by general thumb rule here is that what is the share of mind I'm actually going to command with my advertisement. Let's say if I am planning a campaign for let's say some sort of a mass brand. At an overall level, let's say in one universe there are 200 million users who could be my potential consumers, but in my campaign, if I am just reaching and if I'm doing some sort of a budget forward planning and I am reaching only 10% users in 3 times in a month, that advertisement is not going to yield any effect. Okay, so what it actually tells me is that either I start trading off the market, I start basically doing some sort of a fine trade-off between the markets and the audience that I've selected. And I will select only the market where I can actually try doing some sort of a 50% of a reach, and I will try to hit them at least 10 times in a month. Okay, that is where the brand will start actually making them or moving the mind measures. If the brand and the communication doesn't move the mind measures, you're not going to see the impact of your advertising dollar. So you need to keep certain set of sufficiency planning whenever you are doing some sort of a brand communication.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I think which is things that we've actually learned from conventional media as well. That I think the focus or the goal needs to be predefined. And today, the only thing is that because it is so data driven, even clients are expecting straight conversion. It's like that. You don't use digital for branding.
Correct.
You use digital only for conversion. And
Correct.
that balance is something that I think as advertisers or as communication things we need to balance out.
Correct.
Another so another question to you is do you think that with all of this data available, do you think there should ideally be like we do research, like we do market research, etc., before getting onto a strategy and creating a marketing plan? Do you advise that now we should have a certain amount of spend? Like, you kept mentioning that, sometimes it's like a dipstick, you got about, say, you put 10,000 rupees initially to start off or 5,000. Do you think there is any method that we can actually employ as a basket to really figure out in terms of what is really going to work? Or should we kind of just, because everything, it seems that there is no harm in experimenting. But the fact is that the moment the money goes in, the client has a question in terms of, yaar, iska effect nahi aaya. It's not converting yet. But I don't think there is a clear-cut answer. We need to have a research at the beginning.
Yeah. See, I think, no. So there are some of the rules that we have actually established, and we get these questions not just from the smaller clients, but also even from the bigger clients like a Marico and a GCPL, where, they spend in crores on advertising, saying that what is the ROI that I'm getting. So for what we actually do is that we look at what is the task in hand. Okay. And I need to decide some of the key performance indicators for the task that I'm leading, right? Let's say if it's a new launch, I cannot expect the brand to start selling online or even offline unless I do some sort of a awareness building task, right? Now, for me to actually build the awareness, like I said, that I need to decide saying that which are my P1 market. Once I decide the P1 market, there are enough and more tools in the market. Google has something called a reach planner. Facebook has called RNF planner. Okay, which you can use and see that in that given market, what is the reach and frequency that you can actually drive with the money that you are importing. So before even you start the plan, you can identify that with a 50 lakh of investment, am I going to reach 50% of the audience at 10 plus frequency, or am I going to reach just 5% of the audience at a 3 frequency? If it is a later one, I will not invest that money. Okay, so there are pre-planning tools available in the markets.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
which you can leverage upon before you invest the money. Yeah.
Money, correct. And any kind of ballpark percentage in terms of
So
cost?
I go with for awareness creation task, I go with a rule of at least reaching 50% of the audience at 10 to 12 frequency.
Okay.
Okay, if it is a awareness kind of a task, if it is some sort of a consideration moving task, I go with more engagement driven activity, not really the top funnel, because I need more users to start engaging with my brand. And if it is a bottom funnel task that I'm taking into consideration, then the metrics are well defined, like your sales or the sign up percentage or the lead percentage that you're getting into the thing. Yeah.
Super. Yeah, that gives quite good clarity. We've got, I think, one question on the chat box now from Jay. So Jay has a question: how would I increase the adoption of a new product or feature? How would I measure success? So Jay, I think, are you talking about product or feature of a tool or product or feature of what you want to market? Jay, just decide tool. Okay.
Okay. See, I think here, I think again, your strategy will come into a picture in a big way. If it is increase the adoption of the product or a feature specifically, first I need to get the buying in my product at an overall level. And that's where your first party data comes in, right? Let's say you start basically building the awareness of the product. The moment you start advertising, you will start getting the number of people who have actually viewed the product film or the product communication at a full length. Once they view the product communication at a full length, you can do a lot of ad sequencing targeting, which means a second ad that they will see, a third ad that we will see. You can actually design the entire sequencing of the communication. Once you design the sequencing of the communication and they start receiving the third and the fourth leg of the communication, that's how you start establishing more and more. So you can use reach frequency as a primary awareness driver and sequencing for highlighting the feature of the product.
Oh, nice. So I think that's a class on its own.
Yeah.
Figuring out the strategy is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the options are actually plenty. It's something that you need to be aware and start leveraging to your benefit, right?
Great. Yeah, true. My last question, Sanjay, if you allow me, and which you will be very happy to also know. And Chintan, you kind of addressed it earlier in one of your talks as well, is the synergy between online and offline. And you had a very good example, and I would like you to kind of cite that, which where you were talking about the sedans for a
yeah, lovely. Okay, so I mean, while I'm born and brought up in digital, technically, I still have I still go completely unbiased when it comes to a brand task. And when it comes to a multiplicity effect of the media, I really basically go with the task at hand. So, for example, one of the one of the category like a real estate, when you combine the outdoor, print, and digital together, it gives you the exponential effect in the walk-ins target that you have for the site or for the property that you are advertising. Same way, if you are advertising some sort of a CPG product or a consumer durable product, combination of the e-commerce ads with your video ads and with your search ad gives you exponential reach, because wherever the users are basically engaging with your category or with your brand, you are being present. So it's a very natural phenomena, is that basis on the category that you are advertising or the product that you are advertising, start thinking from the consumer lens. I never go with the marketer lens when I would like to advertise or market my brand. I always go from the consumer lens, and then automatically the media choices starts popping up.
That's very well put. Very simple thought.
Yeah, simple. Correct.
Very simple, but very profound, I think.
Correct.
Great, Chintan. I think if things are great, we would love to someday collaborate, and create, a great campaign.
Absolutely.
Offline. Thank you so much, Chintan. Thank you.
Thank you, Niraj.
And thank you, Sanjay. Over to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think BrandFest is another opportunity to all of us to be together from the fraternity, who are making the career as well as who have made the career into the industry. Before, we sign off this session, I would like to express some of things. Like, it is said, knowledge is the only capital which never diminishes when shared. And I think it has been proven today again. The knowledge got multiplied today, and we are sure that we'll apply it in the industry. Thank you, Chintan. And thank you, Medicine, for never-ending support. whenever I ask for the support from the medicine group, medicine is one of the largest agencies in the country. And whenever we had asked any help, there was never no to the help which you have provided. Thank you. Thank you so much, medicine and Chintan.